Today, we're diving into what might be one of the most powerful and profound conversations ever recorded, right from the heart of the ancient Indian epic, the Mahabharata. We're talking about the Bhagavad Gita.
So, picture this. You're standing on a massive battlefield. The air is just electric with tension. Two huge armies are staring each other down, ready to clash, and the fate of an entire kingdom is hanging in the balance. And you're the greatest warrior of your time. Your side is counting on you.
But here's the thing, this isn't just any battle. As you look across the field at the army you're supposed to destroy, you don't see enemies. You see faces you know, faces you love. And it forces you to ask a question that, let's be honest, we all face in some way or another.
So what's this all about? Well, at its core, the conflict in the Gita is a massive family feud. It's a struggle for power between two sets of royal cousins. You've got the Pandavas, who are seen as pious and righteous, and then you have their cousins, the ambitious sons of Dhritarashtra. This thing has escalated way beyond a simple argument. It's now all-out civil war. Every single attempt at peace has completely failed. I mean, even Lord Krishna himself goes as a messenger to plead for peace, and they turn him down flat. So yeah, war is pretty much inevitable at this point. And this is where Krishna makes this incredible offer. He says, look, I personally will not fight, but one of you can have my entire army, and the other can have me, just me, as an advisor. The leader of the other side, a shrewd guy named Duryodhana, he immediately grabs the army. Smart political move, right? But the Pandavas, they're actually thrilled to have Krishna himself on their side. And that one choice, right there, it sets the stage for everything that's about to happen.
Okay, so the armies are ready. And now we zoom in on the Pandavas' champion, the legendary archer, Arjuna. He's in his chariot, and his charioteer is none other than Krishna. As they ride into the no-man's land between the armies, Arjuna asks Krishna to stop so he can get a good look at the men he's about to fight. And what he sees, it just breaks him. The enemy battle lines, they're filled with his own family. He sees his grandfathers. He sees the revered teachers who taught him everything he knows about archery. He sees his uncles, his cousins who he grew up with like brothers. Even his own sons and grandsons are standing on the other side. This isn't some abstract war against a faceless enemy. For him, this is a family reunion where the only outcome is slaughter. In that instant, Arjuna's famous resolve just crumbles. He turns to Krishna, and you can just hear the anguish in his voice. The reaction is completely physical. He's literally trembling, his mouth goes dry, and his legendary bow, Gandiva, it just slips from his hands. He is totally, completely overwhelmed. But here's the thing, Arjuna doesn't just have an emotional breakdown. No, he starts laying out a series of logical arguments for why this war is wrong. He argues that killing his own relatives, that's a terrible sin. He's afraid that if all the men in the family die, their traditions will be lost, which will lead to total social chaos and a hellish life for everyone left. And he asks, even if they win, what kind of victory is that? Would life even be worth living? So he puts down his weapons and says, Krishna, I shall not fight. And this is the turning point. Arjuna has completely surrendered. He's thrown his duty as a warrior out the window. And Krishna, who's been sitting there just quietly listening to all of this, now he speaks. And his response is probably not what Arjuna or, frankly, any of us would expect. Krishna doesn't pat him on the back and say, there. Nope. He challenges him, and he challenges him hard. His words are like a thunderclap on the battlefield. They're sharp, they're powerful, and they're meant to shock Arjuna out of his despair. He actually calls Arjuna's compassion a petty weakness of heart and tells him to get up and fight. But this isn't just a tough love pep talk. Not at all. What happens next is one of the most incredible philosophical discussions in all of human history. Krishna is about to completely reframe Arjuna's entire reality, to shift his perspective from grief and confusion to one of crystal clear purpose. Krishna starts with the biggest distinction of all, the difference between the physical body, which is temporary, and the soul, which is eternal. See, from Arjuna's point of view, he sees his relatives as their bodies, so their death feels like the end, an absolute tragedy. But Krishna reveals that the soul never really dies. It just moves from one body to another, kind of like changing your clothes. So grieving for the body is based on an illusion. The real focus shouldn't be on winning or losing the results, but on performing your duty. And this brings us to this really key concept, dharma. Now, dharma often gets translated as duty, but it's much deeper than that. It's more like your essential nature, your righteous path in life. Krishna explains that for Arjuna, who is a warrior by nature and by trade, fighting in a just war is his specific dharma. To back down now because of his personal feelings, no matter how noble they seem, would actually be a failure of his core purpose. Now, to help Arjuna understand why he's feeling so torn up and how he can rise above it, Krishna introduces this amazing concept of the three gunas, or modes of material nature. Think of them like these invisible forces that color everything we see, everything we do, and everything we understand. So Krishna breaks down these three modes. First, you've got goodness, which is all about purity, clarity, and it leads to real knowledge. Then there's passion, which is driven by endless desires and ambitions, and that usually ends in greed. And finally, you have ignorance. It's darkness, it's laziness, and it leads to delusion and foolishness. And the thing is, all of us, at all times, are under the influence of some combination of these three. Okay, so if we're all caught up in these modes, how do we ever find real peace? How do we find freedom? Well, Krishna doesn't just leave Arjuna hanging. He lays out a clear path, a way to live and act in this world while actually rising above all the stuff that ties us down. And here it is. This is the absolute core of the Gita's practical wisdom. The secret is to do your duty, your dharma, with all the skill you have, but to completely let go of any attachment to the outcome. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, if people praise you or blame you, if it brings you pleasure or pain, you stay steady. Why? Because you're not hooked on the results of what you do. Krishna then breaks this down into a practical 4-step path. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly profound. Step 1. Get control of your senses, which are always trying to pull your mind in a million different directions. Step 2. Act, but without being attached to the outcome. Step 3. Offer up everything you do as a form of devotional service, acting for a higher purpose that's bigger than just you. And if you do this, you reach Step 4. You attain the supreme goal. And the promise here is huge. Krishna says that anyone who sincerely follows this path can rise above those three modes of nature. He uses this beautiful metaphor, saying that this higher knowledge is like a boat that can carry you safely across the entire ocean of miseries of our day-to-day existence. And so the Gita leaves us with a challenge. It's not telling us to run away from our problems or our battles. It's telling us to face them, but with wisdom, with purpose, and with a sense of detachment. The ultimate battlefield, it turns out, isn't on some dusty plain. It's right here, inside of us. It asks each of us to look at our own lives, our own duties, our own attachments, and to really ask ourselves, what is the purpose behind what I do?